'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through West Valley City, not a creature was stirring, except at the animal shelter.
Here, kitty, kitty.
Police hung their stockings right next to their cuffs, their body-worn cameras, and other police stuff. And firefighters were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions
Cake.
danced in their heads. Chief Evans in his uniform and Chief Jacobs with her badge had just sat down to take a look at the CAD.
It looks pretty quiet out there tonight.
When on top of City Hall, there arose such a clatter, the chief called to his fire crew.
Quick, bring the ladder.
Down the pole the team came. They flew like a flash, pulled on their gear.
Don't forget your masks.
Another call to 911.
We've got a report of a fat man in a red suit on the roof.
And to City Hall, officers flew. Quickly they came, their lights flashing red and blue. Police set up a perimeter and then called in SWAT.
We need you guys to get over here and make sure this guy is caught.
The suspect's vehicle, not a car nor a truck, but a red sleigh hauled by reindeer.
Does that look like a buck?
The glare of their floodlights on the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to a guy yelling,
Ho, ho, ho!
The little old driver so lively and quick, they soon figured out.
Wait, that looks like St. Nick.
Then call off the SWAT team, call off the dogs.
Our suspect is Santa. Yeah, Santa Claus.
He came bearing gifts, the kind perfect for this year. He fetched a big sack.
Let's see what we have here.
His pack full of masks, sanitizer, PPE. He knew about this year.
He knew just what we needed.
Then as quick as he came, he also left in a hurry. 2020 behind him, quarantine now blurry. And we heard him exclaim as he welcomed 2021.
Merry Christmas to all. Aren't we glad this year's done? Yeah!
Loy Handsome Family Foundation today for their generosity and contribution to complete the first phase of the Utah Veterans Memorial Park. By recognizing Deloy's Family Foundation, we would like to honor Delbert Loyal Hanson and Deloy Hanson by presenting a token of our appreciation. However, before I do that, I hope I don't embarrass the family or Deloy at this moment. I would like to share an excerpt that I found from Delbert's funeral announcement. And this was obviously in Smithfield or Logan, Utah. It said, Loyal's life was defined by hard work. Wasting time was not a part of his mortal experience. Although he loved to work and taught his children its value, he always had time for people. Loyal lived an active life in the outdoors, close to God's creation, hiking, camping, fishing throughout, and teaching family and scouts outdoor survival. Sensitive to the beautiful home our earth provides, He instructed his scouts, children and grandchildren, to always leave things better than they found them. He used the earth for 78 years and left every place better than he found it. Loyal, known as the Rabbit Man, he shared his love for rabbits with all. 3 generations of Smithfield residents learned of pigeons and rabbits from Mr. Hansen. The attributes that Mr. Hansen left behind, I believe they are embedded in Mr. Deloy Hansen. To that end, I'd like to represent Deloy and the foundation, a token of our appreciation. Deloy, if you please come up. So, thank you. Couple of things that when we were planning and creating and establishing what we could put on some benches that are donated by many, many donors to the Veterans Foundation. I also were able to found a picture of Delbert Loyal Hansen from the obituary in Logan. So this is the picture that is on that bench that you and your family could enjoy every Memorial, Veterans Day, and any holiday that you would like to come. I'd like to present you with this. And also like to present you with Delbert served in the United States Navy. And this is in honor of him, for you to remember him as many times as possible when you're writing and signing checks or what have you. So, especially to West Valley City, hopefully. So we hope you enjoy that pen. And also would like to share with you the flag of the United States of America that is flown on the United States Capitol. And we hope to allow us to share your dad and his Navy background. By the way, this signifies that that flag is certified by the United States Capitol, that this flag has flown up there.
Thank you.
Thank you very
That is
much.
wonderful.
Appreciate you.
Sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Obviously, Mayor Bigelow deserves the credit. He's the kindest explaining. And when I first heard the idea, I thought, well, that's a little of a pipe dream, but you know, maybe you can pull it off. But his persistence over a number of years, we talked about this over more than 1 year. And as he really got into my heart, it was my love for what my father did. At 17, he joined the Navy and served in Italy on the Providence ship. But I wanted to tell a quick story about my daughter, Robin. After my father passed, they were cleaning out his house and they found the Navy coat that he wore, but he wore that out to feed the rabbits and the pigeons and the turkeys, that till I was in high school, because it never wore out. It was made out of canvas, brown canvas, and you can't wear it out. And if it's not worn out, Dad's not going to give it up. I once bought him a pickup and he put it on blocks for 3 years because the other one wasn't worn out. So he had a real sense of using things for their full purpose. But that coat, she cleaned it up and it smelled horrible because it smelled like pigeon manure and everything. She cleaned it, hung it there with a picture of him in the pocket and a picture of his ship. And it hangs behind my desk at home. So every day I get to see my father's coat that I saw from 1st grade to 12th grade when I went out to feed the rabbits, the chickens, the turkeys, and you always fed the animals before you ate. So that was his thing. You take care of things. And I want to thank West Valley. What a wonderful city to work with. I say that with no qualification. Your economic development team, your leaders, Jake, Mark, Nicole, I could go on and on. You know, Wayne, we've worked together for a number of years, made some beautiful accomplishments and have more in the plans. We were just talking with the owner of the mall. Maybe we can get involved there, but we believe in West Valley. We came here with a commitment to make this one of the greatest cities in Utah, and we remain to that. And you've been very supportive. So thank you, Mayor, for inviting our family to be part of this. And what a remarkable honor. And I'm grateful my daughters get to share with me. Thank you.
Thank you. We could maybe do a picture. I just want to make sure it's still true. I think that'll be good. I think we can get everyone. Thanks, Mark. Yeah. Okay, this will be great. Okay, 1, 2, and 3, 4.
1, 2, 3.
My turn.
Oh, we'll see whose camera's the best, I guess.
Well, after the professional, I thought I'd compete. If you could indulge me for another second or two, please, Mayor. I have another recognition, Mayor and Council, if I may. We would like to recognize and give a special thanks to Mayor Ron C. Bigelow for the heartfelt contribution to complete the first phase of Utah Veterans Memorial Park that was dedicated this last November 11, 2021. For 4 years, over 4 years, Mayor Bigelow worked tirelessly through various designs of the memorial for various locations of the memorial, finally ending up obviously at the Cultural Celebration Center. The Utah Veterans Memorial is something very special to all of us. And Mayor Bigelow worked very hard in championing the fundraising efforts and bringing to fruition the completion of the first phase of the Utah Veterans Memorial. We would like to honor and celebrate Mayor Ron C. Bigelow by presenting him our token of appreciation. Mayor, can you come down, please? Good thing you didn't tell me about this ahead of time. So I cannot give you the entire memorial, but I thought I would love to give you a piece of it with actual names, some of the names that are on the memorial, for you to remember us by, since this is your last meeting. But please continue your fundraising efforts for us to finish second phase, third phase, fourth phase, whatever it takes. And we'll be there to help you accomplish that.
All right.
In the same way, we'd like to honor you with a Air Force pen that
Yes.
so that you could write the names of all those who are contributing for our Veterans Memorial.
Okay.
Likewise, maybe. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Oh, give me a bag to put it in.
Yes.
Did they give you a bag?
You know, I wasn't mayor.
Yes, he does have a bag. Okay, so we would like to present you with the American flag that has been flown over our United States Capitol. And this reminds us of all the contributions that you have made to the Utah Veterans Memorial. And of course, that's your certificate that says this is authentic. Thank you, Mayor. I'll go back up here.
You know, this memorial that the city has supported, which is actually a state memorial. Many are surprised at the fact that we are honoring veterans from all across the state of Utah. And it is really a very special jewel, I would term it, for our state. And, you know, as I worked with Deloy over time and his family, as we talked about this, it was interesting to me. And as I go through these kinds of things, it is always about people. And I got to know Deloy and found out that some, just probably a small portion of all the things he's involved with, all the good he does in our community. And, you know, just as I look at the things just West Valley, you know, there's a list there. We could go into those, but good people of all kinds have, you know, made our community better. And this is one of those that has, I believe, been a great asset to our state and will be for many years into the future. You know, when the wall, the replica, what was it, a 50% replica of the Vietnam Memorial Wall came through our city and was displayed here, I had an opportunity to talk with veterans from all across the state. That was the era when I was in the service, was during the Vietnam time, which was, you know, one of those times in our history where there was political unrest. And as they came through and as we talked with them about their service and about the challenges they went through, and then as well as we told them what we were doing, so many wanted to be supportive of that through literally some of them, as they came through, I couldn't even believe they could afford to give us $10, but they did. All these little contributions. So we have a range of people from all across the state who participated in this, and Deloy helped us to bring it to completion, to break ground on Memorial Day, to then dedicate it on Veterans Day, two very important days to the concept of veterans. It was just a very special thing. And many stepped forward to make that happen in that time. Jake and certainly Oakland Construction, EDA Architects, those who did the stonework, all stepped forward. And so it was a community effort. And that was one thing when I first started out, I wanted to make sure that it was a Utah project, that it was done by and for Utahns. I know many people go to the federal government and want to get money from everybody, but we've been doing this just here in Utah. And that just shows the depth of commitment of our people. The people who live and love this state have to remember veterans, especially those in this case who gave their lives in service to their country. So Deloy, and to all your family, certainly those involved with the Family Foundation, but to all of you, what a great example you set in our community, and thanks to all of you. Appreciate it. With that then, now, Deloy, you and your family are welcome to stay, but we're going to go on now to other business, and it is not unusual at all for people to leave in the middle, okay?
Thank you.
But there are a few here who need to get to some of these other items, so yeah. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. So let's get back to our regular business. We'll begin with, well, yeah, I mean, he mentioned it, but there are two of us. This is our last meeting. And we'll enjoy the last meeting. Next time the council meets, which will be in January 4th, we will have some new faces on the council. And so we'll see maybe towards the end why maybe we'll make a couple of comments along those lines. I've had an opportunity to speak a lot, so won't say too much, but we'll finish up our regularly scheduled agenda of items, and then there are some people here to speak as well. So we'll get those taken care of. So first of all, let's take care of our minutes from our last meeting, December 7th. A motion on the minutes, or?
I move to approve those minutes.
Thank you. Second makes it official. And without further discussion, okay, the minutes will be approved without objection. Don't hear any objections, so the minutes are approved unanimously. With that, then, we now come to our regular public comment period. We note that there is a separate public hearing for application GPZ 15-2021 Hamlet Development. That's the one at on 5450 West. If you're here to speak to that, we will hold a separate public hearing on that matter. And that's the way we're required to do that by law. It has to apply specifically to that. But this comment period we're going to open up is for anything else, so that the public has a chance to come and comment. With that introduction, oh, by the way, since we have some people who probably haven't been here before, hopefully you noted that you have up to 5 minutes. We set aside a half an hour maximum for this. It is not question and answer. It is not a debate. It's your time. You're able to speak, and your mind, well, within some limits. We had some who got excited and said a few words that we typically prefer not to hear on permanent record here. So just be respectful of each other and of the council, and all of your remarks are addressed to the mayor per protocol. And with that introduction, then Brent Butler. Did I get that right? Probably not, but he'll correct me.
Didn't want to speak.
Come up to the microphone, because this, by the way, this is an official record, so it'll be permanently recorded.
Okay. Well, thank you. I did want to speak about 5450 West, but it's not specifically about the that development you're talking about. So did you want me to wait, or?
That's up to you. If you'd like to, you're welcome.
Okay, I'll just go ahead. Yeah, I just want to talk. I had heard that you were going to be talking tonight about maybe requiring curb and gutter up and down the whole street, which I wanted to just put in my little bit that as a property owner there now, and as someone who grew up in the neighborhood and many times went up and down that street's got a special ambiance. The big trees that are up there, it'd be horrible to see those go. And I would just encourage you to, if there's some other way that it can be done without removing those big trees, let's please do it, because what a special place that is. That's, you just don't, I don't think that exists anywhere else in West Valley, and in very few places in the whole valley. So I would just like to encourage you to, hopefully we can keep it the way it is. It's beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you. Next is, we do ask that out of respect that no public demonstrations be made. I know it's new for you, but we have to control that, because very infrequently it gets out of hand, so we just don't allow any demonstration. Okay, thank you. Next we have Randy. That's all I got. Oh, now I know why. You were here before.
Hey, thank you for giving me 5 minutes. Yes, I was here before. This won't be my last time. A longtime resident of West Valley, been here for 45 plus years. Not planning on going nowhere. I'm pretty sure you're going to see more of me, and hopefully some more input from other West Valley residents. I tried to put a compilation together, but I couldn't do it because I don't understand these iPhones. So my grandkids did this for us, and I'm only going to give you a few seconds like I did last time. I could give you the whole 5 minutes so you guys can understand what a lot of us are going through. And I told you, I haven't had a good night's sleep for over 6 months because of what's going on. We don't understand why, what their agenda is. It's 24/7. At nighttime, it's not quite as prevalent as it is during the day. During the day, it's all the main arteries, 35th, 56, 41, 4000 West, Bangerter. They use all these arteries to get away or hide and seek or whatever they're doing. I already told you, I found out most of them are clubs. I don't think they all talk to each other, but I'm pretty sure they have communication with each other on each of their club site. And how we can address this, I have no idea. I'm thinking park a dark colored police car with windows so they can't see who's in it if they're not using the car. But I'm telling everybody this now they're gonna go tell their friends and neighbors, and then now they're gonna know what it is. This went on this morning until 5 a.m. This is every. This is all day long. Stop there. You get the point. How many here in the council and on the member live in West Valley?
We all live here.
Okay, good. If you didn't, I just wanted to explain a little bit more, but it'd be funny if you didn't. I don't know. I don't know what to do. That's why I'm here for a second week. And I'm going to come back in January and February and March until we figure out what the solution is. What is their agenda, especially at nighttime? You know, when I go to work part-time, I'm retired from the government, and I know how the government works and how fast things move. Like a turtle, snail's pace. It's not meant to be a joke. I just, you know, we got red tape to go through. And so if West Valley City could focus on that for a little bit here, and maybe we can do something about it, we shouldn't be letting this happen at all. I found out from a few of my friends and relatives that live in neighborhoods that are kind of deep inside, away from 35th, away from the corridor, away from Bangerter, away from 4100, away from 4000 West, 4800 West, 5600 West. They're kind of in the center. So they got houses, blocks of houses in front of them, to the side of them and all the back of them. They don't hear it as loud as we hear it. It's in the daytime after I've waken up and gotten cleaned up, got my coffee going and got the wife breakfast. It's starting already at 6 a.m. And these people are, went out there, got to go get gas, got to go to the grocery store, in and out. And I can see, I'm just going to give you a few examples. Speedway, gas station, the Subway gas station, the laundromat on 4100, the Harmon's over here on 35th and 4000. Most of the hamburger joints, 7-Elevens. If you was to see and listen to what I'm hearing, you would see what they're doing. You see them sometimes just in one at a time, sometimes in two side by side. On 35th, Carl's Jr. Drive by there once in a while. Look over there by Carl's Jr. parking lot. You're going to see 4 to 6 of them parked side by side, out here, out there, wherever. Harmon's the same thing, alongside the building, out front, right out front. You'll see one take off because they know it's clear. I'm almost done. You'll see one take off this way, one take off that way, sometimes two in the same direction, and then they're racing together. But their agenda, I don't know what it is, but they know what they're doing, and it's hide and seek from officers. It has to be for them to be hiding, parking and waiting, and then all of a sudden one takes off this way, that way. north, south, east, west, off of 4,000, 4,100 south. Hey, thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it. And let's think about Christmas lights in West Valley next year on all the main corridors and the lights. Everybody's doing it. Harriman's doing it. West Jordan's doing it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Next, we have Angela.
I just thought I'd mention a few things that'll be coming up next year. I got a notice in the mail about the street lamp lighting increase. Not everybody has street lamp lighting in their neighborhood, so I don't think that's a fair tax increase on that. I'd hope that you take that into consideration. And I know we also have the property tax increase as well. I don't know if there's any way to negotiate around that, especially since we've all dealt with this whole coronavirus, which has affected several financial areas in everybody's lives, whether it's jobs, school, food, buying products and stuff. So if there's any way to negotiate the property tax increase just to level things out. And then the last one was in my neighborhood in particular, we always have the stickle. So other people that have stickles in the neighborhood, they always get the street plowed last. So if there's a way to keep the people that live in neighborhoods with a stickle so that they can make sure the street gets plowed and not ignored, that way they don't get stuck getting out of the stickle onto the main road. That would be appreciated on that. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Rhett Olson.
My comment is in regards to 5450. Do you want me to go ahead?
Oh, okay, you'll do in the next one. Okay. Then Jim Visak.
I was answering Randy's question back there. I reached out to Craig Thomas about Clean and Beautiful, maybe putting the lights on. And we found out from Public Work that our light poles do not have plugs on them. And it would be an exorbitant cost to put the plugs on. So as the Clean and Beautiful Committee, we're thinking about doing a holiday flags or something like that. That's within our budget. So I did let him know about that. So that's what I was talking to him back there. So I know we won't have a public comment on the unfinished business, but I would like to say the new proposal that the builder brought with the 16 parking spots, great. I mean, it's so much better than the initial proposal when we only had 3 visitors and 1 ADA, and then they came back with nothing, which freaked everybody out. And now this one, I think it's the right thing, and hopefully you guys will pass it, and so that this builder can get building. And let's see. The rest I'm going to talk about is Steve Biller and the mayor. I've been involved with West Valley City for a little over 4 years now. And starting with Steve, we have this thing every time we see each other. Visak, Bueller, Visak, Bueller, and stuff. And for the last 9 months when we were campaigning, we were out a lot of things. And I appreciate the camaraderie, the fun that we had with that, you know, through the whole thing. And you're going to be missed, you know. And so hopefully your business thrives, and hopefully you don't run in 2 years. But thank you for your service. And you will be missed. So, and in there, from the beginning, when I got involved, started getting involved, I've had some interesting conversations in his office. Sometimes, and it was just the meet and greet with the mayor. Sometimes I was the only one. We would have 30, 45 minutes sitting in there, and the great conversation and the encouragement and the knowledge that he has brought in his more than 2 decades serving the people of Utah and West Valley City. As a resident of West Valley City, I appreciate your service and thank you. And I thank you ahead of time for the Veteran Memorial and the continuing service. I said something to your wife. I said, I'd be happy to have you home. And she goes, only if I could, because you're not going to slow down. We all know that. You're just going to put your energies a different place. And once again, as a resident of West Valley City, I appreciate everything you've done for the city, and thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak in our public comment? Yes, come forward.
Daryl Curtis, 3860 South Marcia Drive. Just wanted to also echo the on the unfinished business on 32 South and 3554 West. You know, making holding out and getting more parking. The more parking we can get in any of these areas where there's multi-unit housing, it's going to be better for the community as a whole. I know in several areas, I live out in off of 56 West. The Winco development, the on-street parking there is just horrendous. When even going into Winco, there's a lot of people I'm sure that park in Winco, but really appreciate the council holding out and making sure that there is sufficient parking for that community, that is project. Thank you.
Anyone else? We do allow people to come online if they desire and participate, but there's no one. Okay, no one online. With that, then, we will close the public comment portion of our meeting. We will move on to our public hearing that we have. Oh, city manager comments.
No comments tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
I don't want you to think I'm anxious to leave. I'm just anxious to leave. Okay. Council comments? All right, now we'll go to that. Let's see, application GPZ-15 2021, filed by Hamlet Development Group. This is on property at 3702 and 3716 South, 5450 West. While we discuss this issue, we will consider ordinance 21-66, a general plan change, ordinance 21-67, a zoning change, and then resolution 21-203, a development agreement. This property is taking some property that currently exists, which is a large piece of property, and they're going to put 12 units. I didn't bring that up. I got sidetracked here. To turn those into single-family homes under our current development standards. And there are several homes that there are two homes that will be retained on the property. And then the others will have space for additional pieces of property there.
It's 12 lots.
It is 12 lots. Okay. 4.42 acres. These are our residential estate concept that we had developed a few years ago. And so that is the issue before us. There are, I believe, 3 flag lots on this property. And then there was one adjustment, which was 3 flag lots, and then 2 of the lots need a lot width reduction. But in return for that, they are doing some other items in the development agreement. Now, that is the introduction to this issue, unless council wants to add any further comments. Not seeing any, then we will open the public comment portion of this meeting. And I know we have Rhett Olson here to speak to this, and then we'll see if there's anyone else.
Good evening. My name is Rhett Olson. I live on 3755 South, 5450 West. I live in the original home that's now included in the reserve subdivision. So I bought from the developer that original home, and so I have some experience in dealing with the developer and how that development has happened, and you know what was done, what was not done, and obviously you know this new developer, different developer for this new piece, has made a lot of promises, but there was also a lot of promises made for the development that my house is in. One of which was the city required a what's it called, a memorial or basically an identifying structure showing what the subdivision is, and now the developer's already sold all the lots, and now we're still grappling with the developer to get them to put that in. They've offered us $2,000 and have us go and do it ourselves, or you know, not us personally, but the HOA. They've also asked us to see if we can get it to not be required, if we can put it up to a vote in the HOA, and I just think that right there just shows that a developer will do whatever it can to save money, to pass the buck on to someone else. This should have been taken care of before the first lot was able to be sold. That being said, as far as the new subdivision is concerned, I do want to echo the concern that was brought up before. I don't think there's any one of us that want any curb and gutter along 5450. It is a beautiful street, and the curb and gutter that is currently there that was put in was a misstep that took out a lot of beautiful trees back when that development went in, and it does not look great on the street. The other main issue that I wanted to bring up was in these developments, we've got HOAs that are serve nothing, or the only thing they serve is to be able to maintain the road and the utilities into the subdivision. Now this benefits two different organizations, or two different people. That's West Valley City, and that's the developer. There's no benefit to the future homeowners to have this HOA to have to, I mean, it's essentially paying double tax. You know, I get to pay for my taxes to pay for the roads in West Valley City, and I get to pay an HOA to pay for the road into my subdivision. Now, I get that everyone who's buying these houses recognizes that, oh, they're going to have an HOA, they're going to have to pay, you know, $20-30 a month. I get that they agree to that, but look around. What other options do they have in West Valley? If they want to live in West Valley, they've got to pay the HOA. They got to move into one of these communities with an HOA. And I just think it's short-sighted. I think it's a way to allow the city to get away from not paying for roads, and allow the developer to squish more homes in where it should have just been a little bit more spread out. I mean, what the developer saves like 10 feet on the road. If it was a city road, it would be an additional 10 feet than what they have, and it's I think it's just a little bit greedy. The other thing is with that development, in order for them to put 12 lots on that development, they've got to slam it from the north to south side. Now they've already said that the developer has already said that they want to keep there's like 4 or 5 big large trees on 5450, which is awesome. I love that they want to keep those, but they are going to be taking down in order for everything to fit, because there's not a lot of space from south to north. They've got to take down all the trees along the property lines on the sides and along the back. And so I just it's just sad to see you know, sacrificing trees that could have been saved if we had just had just a little bit less dense, you know, or had some requirements by the developer that some trees had to be saved. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak to this issue? Yes, Mr. Visak.
I'm going to be in the minority on this one. The curbs and sidewalks in the study meetings, you guys had talked about maybe doing more study or coming up with more creative way where you might be able to keep the trees and stuff. Across the street from this development, there is the curbs and sidewalk. And as this area develops, and as I've heard many of you guys talk about, you're planning for the future. And as these bigger lots sell, more of these subdivisions come in, we should have the builders putting in the curbs and sidewalk. Why should West Valley City have to pay millions of dollars? We've got curbs. We've had several people in the past couple of weeks come and talk about our curb and sidewalk problems throughout the city. Some developments, 20 and 30 years, their kids are walking in the street. So it's time that we have the developers put in the curbs and sidewalks, and taking it the next step when they're putting in a park, have them put it in. Why have something cost us 10 times the amount that it would have been if the builder would have done it at the time of building, and have the city incur that cost?
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. My name is Nick Mingo. I'm here tonight on behalf of the developer. Mr. Brodsky fell ill and asked me to replace him tonight. I feel like the project was well described. Comments were heard and concerns understood. A couple things I'd like to just maybe reiterate or clarify. Number one, we're asking for a rezone, general plan amendment, and development agreement approval to allow for these 12 lots on 4.7 acres or so. It's about 2.7 units per acre. Falls within the city's RDE zone. We are asking for a couple of small changes from the RDE zone for flag lots and a couple of smaller lot sizes. Those one will allow us to have lots fronting on 5450 West, which will establish that streetscape. The development agreement also talks about other things from the city's standpoint about architecture and other goals the city's trying to accomplish. As far as curb, gutter, and sidewalk, it's a really difficult position. We understand both sides. We're happy to do whatever you decide. And maybe that issue is pushed further down the road once we've done surveys and identified how many trees are going to be taken out. And in any event, we're going to dedicate the right of way. Whether or not the improvements are built, maybe that's a different issue. Maybe there's a unique solution that we deal with staff and planning and engineering staff down the road. But ultimately, whatever you feel is best, we're willing to accommodate in terms of curb, gutter, and sidewalk. With that, I would welcome any questions and maybe reserve a moment if there's any other comments I could respond to. Thank you.
Thank you. Curtis?
With a growing city and limited space, I know you in several areas you have a requirement for half-acre lots for housing, and it sounds like this is what this was for. You could do the same thing, and now you're making concessions and giving it to so that there's two to three houses per acre instead of just 2 houses per acre, 1 half-acre lots. And I just like to see more of that, where it's half-acre lots. Newton Farms out off of 64th West. Some of those lots are very big, and the homes are good size and everything else. And by limiting the lot size, and this development is going to even cut some lots to even be smaller, is just something that I would discourage. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
Scott Harmon, citizen of West Valley. Just 2 things. I know flag lots are allowed. But this seems to be like a subdivision of flag lots. There's quite a few. I mean, I'm okay with one or two, but this seems to be a little excessive for a subdivision. And then curb and gutter sidewalk. I think any new development in the city or redevelopment of the city, I mean, you have 40th West that has a lot of area that's not got sidewalk and curb and gutter. If that gets redeveloped, I think we ought to have curb and gutter and sidewalk. And this goes with this subdivision also. Any street in West Valley, we need to be not short-sighted, but look out 10 or 15 or 20 years from now. What's it going to cost the city? What's this area going to look like in 10 or 15 years? It's going to be developed. It's going to be houses. Let's think a little bit further down the road than just this year. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone online? No? All right, then. We will close the public comment portion, bring it back to the council for further discussion, comments, motions, whatever.
I have a question about the longevity or I guess the lifespan of these trees. I mean, we all know that trees don't last forever. How long have they been there? How much longer do they have in a natural lifespan if they are just left alone? Does anybody know? Have we asked that?
So I can give a little bit of commentary. I'm no arborist, so I can't give you how old they are or whatever, but I do know they've been there for a long time. They're very mature. They're probably in the latter stages of their lifespan, but that would be the extent of knowledge on it that we have.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my in-laws live in that neighborhood just adjacent, so I've driven that road lots of times. It does have character. They're beautiful trees as well, but do we know if any of the property owners have had issues with falling limbs or, with these winds we have and things? Is that also an issue?
I think I missed the first part of your question. Was it have we had issues with these particular trees falling or damage from them? I don't know the answer to that one. Let me ask our CED folks. No, we don't know. We can obviously talk with the property owners and developer and find out further, but we don't know right now.
Cool. And then I also wanted, I was curious just to get clarification about what Rhett had mentioned about a memorial or an indicator marker or something to that effect. I wasn't clear on what.
Yeah, I don't know
entails.
anything about that either.
But just an entrance sign. We asked that they put one of those in that
Oh,
other
it would
development.
be. So we're talking an entry feature that would be to the subdivision.
Entry
I didn't catch that either.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that is an interesting concept that Jake brought up. And I wonder, and I would just leave this as kind of a parting comment if you want to act on it in the future, and that is, if in developing a subdivision, we have trees cut down, should we require that a tree replace it, within that subdivision? And it doesn't have to be a big tree, but not a sapling either, but maybe like a 3-inch trunk. Those are commonly available, and then that would make the difference of starting another growth if they're in the latter stages. Just a thought.
Well, we do have a requirement for one tree in front of each new house. we
Yes.
build, So
But if I look there, I think there are more trees than that, but I don't know.
yeah, on the front part, I only thought 4 when we were kind of doing the,
Well, that was along 5450, but there are a lot of trees, as he indicated, on both sides and in the back. I don't know how many there are. It looks like more, but I don't know. I'm very pro tree, so
oh, I am too.
I'm not a tree hugger. I'm just pro tree.
Yeah.
A couple of questions I want to ask. The first one is, how many houses per acre last time they built? I can't remember, but to ask,
50
yeah.
point something.
I was going to say 2 to 3, but Steve gave me the more exact number, 2.7.
Okay. The second question I'm gonna ask is, do we have a problem with the sidewalk with the big tree and then the root eating the sidewalk and we have someone trip over in our city?
Do we have that as a problem in the city or here particularly?
Yeah, in the city.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
You know, that brings up an interesting comment. Sidewalks help those who are disabled to be able to move around a neighborhood. And that's especially true of seniors, even if they aren't disabled. And so if you don't have them, what's the impact of that? I guess federal law doesn't require you to have them, but it would make it more difficult for people in that category to live in a home there. So, but I know some of the people there have been older, and so they seem to get by okay.
Mayor, I'm happy to see this project come along. It includes 3 parts, as you stated: a general plan change, a rezone, and then a development agreement. The only reason we get a development agreement is in exchange for the general plan change and the rezone. And then it requires them to build to standards that otherwise they would not have to build to. I'm happy to see a new application for an RE zone. Always happy to see those, and for those houses being built to a higher standard. The sidewalk issue would only bear on the development agreement issue, and I am making a motion that we approve ordinance 2166, the general plan change.
Second for that. My concern is HOA. And I had experience about that when I was in North Ranch in Eagle Mountain. With the small HOA that the gentleman he brought up, it won't last long. Would have a problem. And because that happened to us before, North Ranch and Eagle Mountain. So I don't think it's feasible.
Well, with my long history of flag lots, I just, that's almost an automatic vote for me. Any other comments before we go to the vote? Because we had a motion and a second, then to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Aye.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
No.
Motion passes by majority.
Okay, thank you very much. Council,
Move for approval of ordinance 2167, the zone change to RE.
Second.
was that Jake? Did I hear? Oh, okay. Properly before us, any further comments? Then to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, resolution 21-203. I would move for approval with a change to the development agreement requiring sidewalk, curb and gutter. I feel like we've made enough concessions with the narrow lot and the flag lots that having the sidewalk, curb and gutter required makes sense to me.
Do you mean along 5450?
Yes, sidewalk, curb and gutter, and their little inlet road, if that's normally required. The inlet road is not as big a deal to me, but I'm still concerned about kids, because I'm pretty sure kids are going to live in these homes getting to school. And the more sidewalk, curb and gutter we can give to them, the safer that will be for them.
Second.
I just wanted to mention in the previous or in our study meeting, we had discussed possibly studying the issue a little more about some creative ways
Oh, yeah.
to do that, right? And to
Yeah.
preserve the tree. So is Is that part of this discussion as well?
I think if it's possible, I'm agreeable to that, but if it's not possible, I'd still rather see the sidewalk curb and gutter. Because those trees are well over 100 years old and they're not going to be around much longer.
Can we
Just
add?
because we've had trees like that on property that we've dealt with
Agreed.
personally, so.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we consider that. Is that a
Yeah.
possible friendly amendment that that study
Yes.
take place? That we
Uh-huh.
at least consider other options?
Yes,
Okay, with that, I'd support the motion. Yeah.
thank you. Are you good with that? Okay.
So any further comments? So that was added as part of the motion.
Correct.
And it was accepted by the seconder and the motion.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it was in there.
Yeah, I checked.
That's what was wanted.
So you didn't ask for an amendment to the motion. You were just clarifying that the motion to approve the development agreement would include the requirement for having the curb gutter and sidewalk, correct?
So that would
Along
amend the
with,
development agreement, yeah.
right, along with, you would like us to be looking at creative ways to possibly preserve the trees if possible.
Mhm.
Get that. All right.
Okay, then with that, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Nay.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
Okay. Next, we have Resolution 21-204, authorizing the city into a development agreement. This is property at 3076 South Decker Lake Drive. This is an interesting one. This is has frontage on 3100 South. There were some issues with developing this property on landscaping. This would modify that slightly so that in order to build on the property, they would utilize a portion of UDOT's property under agreement that they would landscape that. It's not really usable for anything else. So this is talking about the setback, the 20% or 20-foot landscape setback from the property line. And that property, the UDOT is surplusing to the city. So that all works out, and then there'll be, this property will be built upon. So with that, I guess I'll stop talking unless someone on the council wants to add any more comments.
Just the way I look at it, Mayor, it basically includes city property in the setback and requires the owner to landscape it and keep it nice. And I think that's a good thing. Move for approval of resolution 21-204.
Second. Property before us, not seeing any further comment to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next, we have Resolution 21-205. This resolution is to put into place the city's position concerning the Bangerter Highway Grade Separation Project. These are the overpasses and the impact on traffic. This is also affects the expansion of that for the overpasses for from the 201 down to 4700 South even, actually. I think it covers that whole thing. And the city did a major study on this issue and came back. We had several options to choose from. Those options are in an attachment here. And the option that the council settled on that reflected most of what they wanted is included in this resolution. Obviously at, I think 4700 South wasn't part of the study because that was going to be done already. But on 41st and 35th, it was kind of a given that those would be traditional, somewhat traditional interchanges. And then from 35th up to the 201, there was some question because there were a number of cross streets and there wasn't sufficient room to have the normal space to have an interchange. So they were going to, so the option that the council seemed to settle on was slip ramps that will allow access and frontage roads that will allow access from all three of those locations to get on Bangerter Highway from the frontage road at 201 on the name of the street.
Parkway.
Huh?
Parkway.
Parkway Boulevard, and then 3100 South would all have access to those slip ramps. So they'll need to go through some stoplights, but they'll have access to get onto Bangerter Highway. And this puts into place the general feeling of the council. This does not bind UDOT. It does not bind the city, but rather makes a statement of where the city is at. Certainly, as they get into studies and work with it in detail, there could be changes to that. So, but this is helpful because it sends a message and makes official where the city currently stands without further information. Did I say anything there that wasn't true? Okay. With that then, that's the introduction to it to the council.
Quick question, just what's the process for communicating this kind of resolution to UDOT?
That's a great question. So we have ongoing communication on this project in a lot of different ways. Because not only are we considering this section, but also the current projects that are upcoming more quickly, like the 47th interchange change, as an example. So we have a lot of, as I mentioned, we have a lot of communication with them on a lot of matters concerning this project overall anyway, very regular. We'll just make sure that we proactively let them know, hey, once again, as the mayor just expressed it, this resolution was an expression of a formal expression of the council's understanding and preference, recognizing that we got a long ways to go there. So there may be changes, and council, as always, is open to and hoping for even better alternatives and solutions that you guys might be able to work with us on.
I think it would be fair to say that part of the purpose here is to kind of put a stake in the ground and say, this is where we're at. Part of this, and I know that I kind of pushed this issue, but when I went back to talk about Mountain View Corridor and how the decision was arrived at, nobody knew and everybody blamed someone else. And I said, well, this isn't a final decision, but at least it gives a point of reference to work from. And clearly, the council still has the right to weigh in with any changes as further information becomes available. So our new council members can participate in that fully. But all the work we went to, we wanted to get that kind of down and say, UDOT, here's where we're currently at. So I think it's worthwhile to do.
Yeah, with that context, then I would move for approval of resolution 21-205.
Okay. I have to listen
Make a
close.
comment
but
to the
thanks.
motion.
Yes. What's that?
I'm not going to be voting in favor of the motion. I think that it's an accurate statement, Mayor, that this was the best that we came up with in our study. However, I stated at the time and continue to believe that we lost our way. The study preferred or put traveling through West Valley City at a greater importance than impacts to the residents and the businesses in West Valley City. I think we could have done much better. It was clear that the contractor we hired was anxious to get it done so that he could then put in a bid for UDOT to work for them on the same project. I think the contractor and the city lost its way. This isn't the best that we could have done. It's the best that we have in our pocket, but I'm not in support of this motion.
I respect that.
Thank you. Any further comments? If not, then to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
No.
Councilman Hune,
Nay.
Councilman Bueller,
Nay.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
Okay. Let's see. Find my location again. There we are. New business now. Let's see, application SMI 6 2021 through 11/2021, filed by Brian Moss. Final plat approval for the Valley Fair Mall lots across the street here on Constitutional Boulevard. This is where the properties that have traditionally been owned by the mall are being subdivided into various parcels. And those parcels may be purchased instead of leased. And so that's part of the process here. So, and that's probably enough on that. There was some discussion about, the process and about strip malls and different things, but this is a proposal before us and it meets our requirement. But with that introduction to the council.
I move for approval of applications SMI 6 2021 through SMI 11 2021. And I'll second the motion with a statement that I'm concerned about the building and the process over there, but in as much as this complies with our law, we are compelled, I believe, and our attorneys have told us to allow this to go forward. So with that, I second the motion.
And now we actually have several applications here, but they are all the exact same thing on the major site, but they are different parcels or pieces of property being sectioned off. That's the only difference. So each of them have a different address, but because of their similarity, we're lumping them together, kind of like our consent calendar, except we had a lot more discussion on it. So with that, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
No.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
No.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
Okay. Next, we have application PUD-6 2021. This is final plat approval for a condominium conversion of the old Grainger Medical Office Building at 3745 West 4100 South. This will allow a similar concept where they will be able to actually sell space in the building to different entities. They will still be similar type of entities. This is a medical building, and that type of function will probably remain in most of these. And that is the purpose of this proposal. With that, to the council.
I would move for approval of application PUD 6-2021.
Second.
Properly before us, any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Then this, on our next item on our agenda is the consent calendar. You will note here several items. The first one is a storm drain issue with the quit claim deed and irrigation easement. For this property, it due to the property owner taking the initiative to do a few things, this is already in place, but it needs to have council approval. He got it out of order. And so all the others are for appointments. Most of these are reappointments, with the exception of Councilmember Karen Lang, Mayor-elect, going on to the Audit Committee, and then, of course, for Scott Harmon to the Housing Authority. The others were reappointments. And those are resolutions 21-206 through 21-214. And those are pretty routine. So that's all I'm going to say about them to the council.
Move for approval of the 9 items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Properly before us, seeing no further comments, to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Then under our unfinished business, application GPZ-14-2021 from Brad Reynolds. This is property at 3554 South, 3200 West. We will consider ordinance 21-63 for a general plan change. We'll consider ordinance 21-64 for a zone change, and resolution 21-189 for a development agreement. This has had a lot of discussion. It's been on our agenda for a while and has been held to this point until some final modifications were made. We have talked about this in our study meeting. Changes were made on the number of available parking spaces from the original plan that came in. That was accomplished by eliminating 2 of the townhomes and getting some more parking. And so with that type of back and forth, it's come back now for another go at it with the council. So this actually takes that piece of property and let's see, which is, I'll get it up in front of 3.2 acres. And let's see, it was a 37 unit. It's down now to down 2 units, 35, or was there one they eliminated before? But anyway, these townhomes are scheduled to be placed there. It has improved based upon comments from the council members to be more in line. Now, tonight, we're going to find if it's enough in line. With that introduction, then, to the council.
I've been driven by an open field with fire hydrants in it for many years. I'm excited to see a better use of that property. I'll move for approval of ordinance 2163, the general plan change.
Second. Property before us. Hearing no further comments, then to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Now, that completes our regular.
Move
cit-
for
No, we have
approval
the
of
other two things.
ordinance 2164.
Oh, yes. I told you I'm
Amend the
anxious to
zoning
get
map.
out of here and you guys keep slowing me up.
Second.
Okay, it's properly before us. No further comments to our city recorder.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
One more.
Okay, resolution 21-189.
Aye. Oh, wait, I'm anxious to get out of here too.
Move for approval, but
That
it's
was,
only,
that was my comment.
but there is only 33 units. So I just want to make sure that's clear on the recording.
Okay, thank you
You're welcome.
for clarifying that. Oh, that's right. It went down from 37 to 35 and then down
33.
again to 33.
Second.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, did we get a second on that? Okay. Then. All right, then, hearing no further comment to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, now are we done? Okay.
We have one more meeting.
Well, yes, for this meeting. That's what I was trying to say before. So this meeting, the agenda is done. And thank those of you who stayed all the way till the end. And so with that, we'll close this meeting and have a brief meeting following this. Not a council meeting. Which one is it?
RDA.
RDA, Redevelopment Agency.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn without objection. We will stand adjourned. Hearing no objections, we are adjourned, and that was unanimous.
Call to order the special RDA meeting for the city of West Valley City. Note that we've had a roll call and all members are in attendance. Our first item on the agenda is our approval of the minutes for October 5th, 2021. Are there any comments or a motion?
Move for approval of those minutes.
Second.
Thank you. Everyone in? Okay, let's just start that one over. Let's make a motion for approval. I'll say aye.
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 And any opposed?
That works.
Yeah, we're going back to the old one. The old school way of doing it. Our next is resolutions, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Pyle to explain those.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So these 11 items are all by action and intent, for all intents and purposes, the same. But they do describe 11 separate project areas within the RDA. And the intent and purpose of this action is to take advantage of the opportunity that the state legislature extended to RDAs throughout the state to extend particular project areas by a period of 2 years in recognition of the fact that due to disruption of the economy during the COVID period and the pandemic, that there may have been some economic loss and or other problems that were associated with those. So this is an attempt by the state legislature to help these projects in these RDA areas regain or recapture some of that economic disruption if there was a loss that was caused by taking this action. So that's the purpose of them. Every one of them, as I mentioned, is the same, other than the actual physical address of the project area.
Okay, thank you. Are there any comments or questions on that?
Do we need to take them individually or can we take them as a group?
The city recorder has said we can take them as a group.
Okay.
So I will now turn the time over to her for a roll call vote.
We probably need a motion.
Oh, a
first.
motion first. Never
I'll
mind. See,
move-
I'm ready to leave too.
I'll move to approve the 12 items. Resolutions 2111 through 2122.
Second.
Thank you. Now we'll turn it over to the city recorder.
Mr. Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Mr. Bueller,
Aye.
Mr. Hune,
Aye.
Mr. Bigelow,
Aye.
Mr. Christensen,
Yes.
Mr. Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Lang.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. Our new business to elect a temporary chair for the January 4th annual meeting of this body. I'm not allowed to chair anymore. So can we have a nomination and a motion?
I would like to nominate Lars Nordfeld for that temporary position.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
We can just do a roll call. vote
Okay,
on this,
let's
or
just-
non-roll call vote.
A non-roll call?
Yes.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? And that passes unanimously. Motion to adjourn? Thank you. Any opposition? Nope. We are adjourned. Thank you.